Hello, and you are welcome to another video with the Gongsmen. Always excited to be coming your way in your homes, your offices, wherever you might be listening to us. We want to say thanks for sharing, liking, subscribing to the channel and sharing the video and everything. Please continue to do so, right?
Yes.
Right. If
Yeah,
you
and
do you
keep
have
the
anything,
comments coming.
then the
No,
comments
it's
as
been
well.
exciting. The past couple videos, and frankly, a lot of the videos we've done in the past, people are loving it,
Yeah,
sharing,
Charlie.
commenting. Keep them coming. It motivates us a lot,
They should do more
to
so
come
that
back
we do
here.
more videos.
Right. So please, if you haven't subscribed, just pause right now and just hit
Yes.
subscribe,
Yes.
eh?
Please do us a
Sharp.
favor and subscribe. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so today we are talking about building a business back home while abroad. If you
Mm-hmm.
have watched our last video, we spoke to Joseph Mensah, who went through a career in actuarial science, pivoted to software development, and is now the CEO of Razor Labs, who are building a rental platform called OpenProp.
Mm-hmm.
So that
If you
generated a
haven't
top.
seen that video,
Yes,
just
if you haven't seen
quickly
that
go
video,
check
we'll
it out.
put we'll put a suggestion in this video for you to go check it out. So
Mm-hmm.
probably popping up at this time. But after we posted the video, a couple of people reached out to us, asking us how to create businesses while abroad. Because
Mm-hmm.
part of the aspirant story is that a lot of people like to do things back home, right? They
Mm-hmm.
like to build businesses or invest in things in general back home.
Yep.
So they were asking us for tips and tricks, how to go about sustaining a
Charlie, when
business.
you
Oh,
kakra for
Charlie.
pocket, you want
Yes.
to, set up something because,
Mhm.
then they will fear, yeah.
Charlie,
So
I
people
do.
want to
And
know.
one thing that Sim said is if you build a home, it's a legacy. You're building a
Mm-hmm.
legacy.
Yep.
Yes. So we thought we would come your way with this video to talk about, first of all, what are some of the business opportunities out there. Now, mind you, we are not experts at anything, but these are things that we have gathered from our research,
Mm-hmm.
from speaking to people who are doing various other things in on the
Mm-hmm.
African continent, and especially in Ghana. And we thought, why not? We'll come your way with this video. And then in particular, Bright has his own business that he's running in Ghana.
Charlie,
Maybe he
something
can talk
small.
us through. Maybe he can talk us through how he's doing it while he's abroad, and hopefully you can learn a couple lessons in there and apply it to your own business. Okay, so you have to think about some of these things, weigh all the options, even look at maybe I should invest my money in something here rather than back home
Mm-hmm.
and all
Mm-hmm.
of that. And in spite of all of that, Charlie, you have put your money back home in a business. Do you want to talk about what
Wish me
business it
luck.
is? And I should wish you luck. You did a
Yeah,
lot
no,
of it. But anyway, what business it is? Maybe before that, what was your motivation, right? Because there are challenges. Something has to be motivating you for you to go like, okay, in spite of all of these, Charlie, maybe is it your family? Is it like maybe you saw some gold mine of a business that what was the
I wish.
motivation?
See, we actually found a gold mine, but some people sold the land before we
Ebusiafo
could
ag-
know. They sold the land before we knew about it. But yeah, to your point, and I guess the point that Sims made, last time, like
Yeah,
it's about a legacy, and also, frankly, of course, I'm not gonna sit here and make it seem like I'm doing this all as a charity, right?
yeah,
You see a business opportunity, you want to, explore that, invest in it, and maybe get a return out of it, right?
yeah, yeah.
But at the same time, what happens is that you're giving jobs to the
People.
community folks, right? The business expanding means you're bringing more people. Some of these folks, one thing, and we'll get into the details, but we introduce things like paying people bi-weekly, right?
Okay.
Which
Okay,
is
Charlie.
very new, right?
Yeah.
But the folks really like that idea, for
Okay.
instance, right? And then also, providing, so the product itself is also important. You want to handle it with care because in our case, it's something that is going to people, right? So you do the right thing. And I guess it's just nice to, when you go back, you see folks in the community, they know you are
Charlie.
from here, right?
Senior man of
You
Navy.
Oh, Charlie, no lie. But it's like, okay, this is somebody who grew up from here.
From here,
He's
yeah.
one of us, right? And now he has this business that Charlie Etiminya Jumaya and stuff like that,
And
right?
stuff
So
like that.
people, young people even start looking up to you small, right? So,
Yeah,
hey, Charlie,
yeah.
so mm,
Actually, I hadn't thought about that part. The fact that there are young men who will be looking up to you and being
yeah,
like,
young
okay,
men and women, yeah.
yes, young men and women looking up to you. Nah, that's actually
Mhm.
profound because I mean, I've thought
Yeah.
about, okay, you are creating jobs and everything, but
Hmm.
to set an example and say, you know what, I'm from here. You guys know me when I used to bath outside and
Yeah,
things.
this might be odd to a few folks who may know me, who may not know too much about me,
Yeah.
but maybe have seen me around. Growing up, I didn't really like going to school,
Hey.
and um, I'm the type that when I'm doing something, I kind of want to see the end game.
Okay.
I get heavily motivated when I can picture in my head what the end looks like, right?
Yeah.
And so growing up, like Charlie, you see, oh, this person finished school. Oh, since I would oh, this
Yeah.
person finished school. Oh, since I woman normal call adopa or something. Like something, it's not like
How
people
do
from
you
the
fear
community were
true?
not, you said?
Who fear true?
Charlie Fretro. So, but you see, it's not like, people in the community were not doing well, but you didn't see more of that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So to me, I always battled like this school that they say we should keep going.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, mate near DVD and that kind of stuff, right?
That's the point.
So what's the point really, right? And I battled that, and I'm just glad that I had, parents, grandparents who even though didn't necessarily have sophisticated education, but they could see the big
Yeah.
picture, right?
Yeah.
And whip my ass sometimes to to get me going.
Okay. So
Yeah.
the big review. What business are you in Ghana?
Oh,
What
it's
business are you doing
nothing.
in Ghana?
Yeah, it's nothing sophisticated.
Hey,
This is
we
the
there.
good old.
Hey.
This is the good old sachet water business.
Okay.
So I guess for folks who may not be familiar, I mean, if you're from Ghana, you definitely know this.
Yeah.
But if you're not, this is just where like, we treat water, put them into like plastic bags, right? And then sell it to retailers, and they also sell it to others. So that's the business we're in. Our business is actually like a franchise from one
Okay.
of the major brands in Ghana.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. So
Cool. So how did you stumble up on that one? You're like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. How did you end up picking such water?
yeah, no, that's a good question. So let's see. I mean, I've dabbled in other businesses, you know, um, yeah. So I dabbled in, tech, for instance. But at least for our group, it seemed like not having boots on ground.
Yeah.
And this was the time I was in graduate school and, other stuff, and folks were also busy. So that didn't really take off. I've also dabbled in this work and pay business a little bit,
Okay.
where you
What is
buy
work
it.
and pay? Uh-huh.
So work and pay is you just buy a vehicle, give it to some driver, right? Maybe they use it for Uber or taxi or whatever. Um, and then the idea is that they pay you maybe weekly or monthly sales amount, right?
Okay.
And then you do your calculation. So they pay for a period of time. Maybe you have some margin on top of it, and then they just take ownership of the vehicle.
Okay.
So I dabbled in that a little bit. COVID hit.
Charlie.
The currency also took a nosedive.
Charlie.
So yeah, but at least we're proud a little that he created some jobs. So
Something.
actually,
Okay.
one guy, he is finishing up his work and pay thing. So hopefully in a few months he'll own the car fully.
Oh, okay.
So that's good. So yeah, this business, it was more of so my area, as I hinted at, it's a big area, but it's not like Accra or
Yeah.
something like that, right? So the water there, you have all these smaller businesses or smaller individuals doing sachet water,
Yeah.
so I mean they are doing well. They're doing the best they can, right? But maybe the level of processing. I mean, we've heard stories where sometimes Charlie will mission one corner be will try
Oh,
so
shed sword booster.
that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it was actually my uncle that that brought this idea. So he does a little bit of that in the city.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
he was like, hey, this opportunity is here, and me, I started bringing my pen and paper, you know,
Yeah.
um, doing my calculations, looking at, okay, what is the opportunity? What are the main blockers, right? And critically, like, how do I run this business successfully when I'm not
Okay.
going to be around,
Yes,
right?
and that's
So
important piece of it.
yeah, that's very important. So I did my calculations. The numbers were looking good, right? Promising, I would say. I mean, it all comes down to how efficient you are, right?
Implement, yeah.
If two people could do the same business and
Mhm.
one could just run it to the ground. Yeah. So I did all of that. And then I started thinking about possible ways I could do this. And then also identifying like people,
Yeah.
sort of my trust pillars, right? Like that, because at the end of the day, it still comes back to, you need someone that you can trust at least on some level,
Yeah.
right? Of course, I have put in place like systems
Systems,
to
yeah.
ensure that it's not just trust, and if issues happen, we catch them early and deal
Yeah.
with those issues, right? So we
Okay.
don't wait like months or even a year and then go back and find out there is nothing there,
There's nothing.
right? So we
Okay.
have a whole end-to-end pipeline
Okay.
that ensures that we keep our eyes on stuff. So yeah, I looked at it, spoke to the brand owner. They liked the idea. We got started, and here we are.
Cool, cool, cool. So it seems like with respect to like the water business, franchising is a way to go, whereby you're going to an established company saying, guys, we can create another kind of like branch of your
Mm-hmm,
business here.
mm-hmm.
I'm
Yeah.
just going to use all of your branding materials, but
Mm-hmm.
I'll pay you something, and but I'll take the risk of the business, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's a way that's a way that you identify to bypass things like marketing and spending a lot of money
Mm-hmm,
there,
mm-hmm,
because the brand was already known, and then you are
mm-hmm.
piggybacking off of that to create like your own business. That was actually
Right.
smart, a smart move. But I'm sure there are challenges with doing that as well, right?
Yeah, certainly there are challenges. So at the end of the day, um, it's your business, like you said. You take
Yeah,
all the risk,
yeah,
right? So it helps. The brand helps because sometimes people know these brands and they're like, oh, but, I've seen this thing in the city or something, right?
yeah.
So it helps a lot. And another good thing, I guess, is like, they have their laid down, like, say, protocol,
System.
like
Yeah, okay. Mhm.
inspections and stuff like that to make sure you're up to code all the time, right? Because
Okay.
if something goes wrong, it's their
Yeah.
brand that would take a hit. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that also makes ensures that you're putting. Of course, on our end, we're doing the best things, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
then it helps to know that even if like maybe we are not aware of some things, they
They can
keep
correct
guiding
you.
and
Yeah.
yeah, correct, and yeah. So yeah, that helps a lot. So
Okay.
yeah.
So when it comes to actually, okay, you've done all your math. The thing is working. The math makes sense. Charlie,
Mm-hmm,
you think you can make some small money to help your brother
mm-hmm.
Yaweji, give me something small to chop. Anyway, so now you've set up stuff. You've probably imported or like bought some processing, whatever
Equipment, yeah.
equipment. You have your trucks to go around to deliver the water.
Mm-hmm,
You have some, if not an elaborate marketing team, but because of the franchising, but you do have everything set in place. How do you how do you ensure that's the biggest, probably the biggest part of this video, that
mm-hmm,
while you are not there, you have your eye there? We have talked about people,
mm-hmm,
trusting people and everything. But
mm-hmm.
for you, what did you put in place to make sure that
Right.
Charlie, I'm trusting people, but a system that I can also trust?
Yeah, absolutely. So yes, that's to me, that's one of the most important things, right? So when I took a moment and thought about what can I do to
Mhm.
ensure that like I don't have to rely so much on trust, it came down to visibility,
Okay.
right? So I mean, people would think of visibility as, oh, let me just install like CCTV cameras
Yeah.
and stuff, and people do that, right? I mean, we've thought about it certainly, but I don't think at this point we have reason to. We don't have enough motivation to do that.
Okay.
Um, and so what I did was to set up like an online portal
Okay.
that tracks things end to end. And what I mean by end to end is that when raw materials come in, because of the franchise, we receive raw materials from the
That's like the
franchise.
sachet that you people put the water in. Okay.
Exactly, the sachet, the bags.
The bags.
So once they come in, everything is tracked into the system, right?
Okay.
And we know how many bags of water we should get from, from the unit. So for they give us the rows, the things that the actual sachets, they are measured in kilograms, right?
Yeah.
So they tell us like, okay, on average, this is how many bags of water you should be getting per kilo.
So you have that data.
So we have that information, right? So once we have the raw materials in there, we are tracking every day how many bags we're putting into production, right? Okay. Again, so once we remove bags from the stock, take it to production room, that is tracked. And then we're also tracking how many actual bags of water we've gotten, right?
Okay.
So that has to match with our stock numbers. So at the end of the day, it shouldn't happen that, let's say we had 1,000 kilos. We have produced maybe 300 kilos, and then we ran out of stock, right? Yeah. That shouldn't happen. And if it happens, somebody has to
answer.
Yeah, it's not like you just have to answer, you have to pay. Right? Yes, because it's money, right?
Okay.
So we track that, we get the production, and then the sales side, right? So we collect data on how many bags each truck is loading.
Okay.
And of course, Ghana will be right?
Yeah.
So we also track all of that. How many bags we are losing from Entoswap, right? And we have our specific rules.
And if you are not from Ghana, it's always like, let's say if somebody buys 10 bags of water from you, you give them an extra bag or 2 extra bags for bulk purchase. Okay. For the price of 10. Okay.
Yes. Cool. So we just have specific rules on that. So every driver knows that if I load this much, this is how much I can add, right? And then once the money, they come back, okay, you loaded this much. This is how much you used for, extra and to swap.
Wow.
And stuff, right? And then this is how much money we need. Now, to make all of that work, I had to buy a computer. I needed to invest. So I needed to buy a computer and I needed to hire that. So I have a manager, but then aside the manager, I have like an administrator.
Okay.
And actually recently I split that role into 2. So there is somebody who is just in charge of the account, Sikasemo, right? You loaded this much, this is how much money came in, and then they count it, make sure everything is good, they give it to the manager, right? And then somebody who is on the production floor to ensure that the drivers are also not doing any fugazi thing, right? So that person's responsibility is to make sure that if the driver says they loaded this many bags, she has counted it, because if any bags go missing, she has to pay for it.
Okay, cool. Right.
So that
there's like checks and balances between even your employees to make sure that everybody.
Exactly. If for some reason, like, today I go and I have access to the platform.
So when you say platform, you said you built an online portal. Do you have a sample to share? Not your official numbers.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I do.
Yeah, can you share it?
I could share my screen on that. Yeah, this is a test. Okay, just making sure I have the test version. Can you see it?
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so you built this yourself, like a whole dashboard where they are feeding in the data back home in Ghana, and you are getting real time.
Yes, exactly.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah, it's fairly easy to use, because I wanted to make sure that, because the people who may be using this are not necessarily sophisticated.
Yeah, sophisticated.
Right? So let's see. So we keep track of vehicles. There is a portion. So this is just a test account. So just go through, right? So we start off. We have, of course, the departments we are working with, right? So you can create admin, production. So it's good for expense tracking and that sort of thing. We have system users, and then we have, you can track the vehicles that you have. So we have like 3 vehicles right now. And then we also track employees. So for our business, if you're employed, you are in the system. And this system is set up in such a way that it actually automatically calculates like salaries at the end of every 2 weeks.
Oh wow, this is very good for managing businesses.
Yeah, it helps a ton. So we are also keeping track of banking. So that's the other part I didn't get to, right?
Okay.
Once the sales come in, because people can just say, "Oh, we sold this much," right? But at the
Yeah.
end of the day, what really matters is, do you have
Is
the
there
money?
money hitting the account?
Right, exactly. So what happens is that I actually the bank account
Yeah.
that we use is connected to my SIM card, and my Ghana SIM card is active as I'm in the
Okay.
US,
Hey,
right? And
Charlie.
it's linked to it. So, so once money hits that account, I get notified,
Mhm.
right? And the administrator has to, add. So over here, you can create a new banking record. You create that
Okay.
you choose the date, the amount, who made the deposit or made the withdrawal,
Wow.
any remarks. So the remarks here, this is where you kind of explain, okay, this amount that is going to the bank, it's because we made this much sales, we paid this much in expenses, we paid this much in fuel cost and stuff
Yeah.
like that, right?
Yeah.
Now, this is in no way replacing like paper tracking. Like if
Yeah.
you bought fuel, right? We still
Need
require
the
that you bring
receipts.
receipts and stuff. Yeah. So once you enter, then I check my phone. I get a notification, right? I compare that. Okay, this is how much money that should be in the
Yeah.
account. And
Okay.
that's what, yeah. And then of course we have like fuel purchases. We're tracking by vehicle types because
Wow.
sometimes some drivers may not be as efficient, right? Olodi or the wasting fuel. So this helps us
Chese,
to
you
track
there, you
that.
never let them cheat you one poo.
Oh, they don't have to cheat, you know. And then this is where the raw materials I was
Yeah.
talking about, right? So we have the packing bags, which is the big bag that you put the sachets
Yeah.
in. And so when new consignment comes in, you create it as procurement, right?
I
And
see.
anytime you take it to the production floor, you record it as a usage, right? And then we have the rolls, which come in the weights. Sometimes, the supplier, when they bring in, they have their weights. Sometimes when we weigh it, it's not the same. So
It
we're
doesn't
tracking that. And if it becomes a problem, we alert the
alert
supplier.
them. I
Yeah.
see.
And this is the salary. So for this portion, this is where things are automated. So we have this structure where we pay by performance, right? So when we started, of course, we didn't have any customers just
Yeah.
yet, right? It was hard. So we had, fixed salaries. But then as time went on and we had more customers, so we switched to
So,
commission-based approach.
okay.
But our employees still get other benefits like health insurance and all of that stuff, right?
Okay.
So you come in, since everything is tracked, you come in, add salary, and then you just choose the period. You can give it some title and description. And what that would do is it would calculate everybody's salary for the period and you
Okay.
can see details. So an employee can go to the administrator that, oh, okay, what is my salary for this period? And then they'll get an explanation of why, they
Why it
got that.
is so
Yeah,
it's very transparent as well. And you say we
exactly.
are
Everything
paying
is
them.
transparent.
So one, you are like it's transparent. The people can see why they are getting the numbers support
Mm-hmm,
it in the back end. And
mm-hmm.
then also you are paying them bi-weekly, which is not something that a lot of employers do in Ghana. I think there are some
Right,
companies that do that, but more established ones.
right.
So why are you doing those things? Like paying them bi-weekly. What is the benefit of that?
Yeah, the benefits is that, I mean, sometimes people in Ghana, you know, Charlie, somewhere middle of the month, they run out of
They
cash.
run out of cash
They
here.
start
Okay.
calling people for Charlie, give me some loan and stuff, right?
Mhm.
But the reality is that they've worked. They
They
don't
work
have
for half.
to
Yeah.
go around like begging people for loan, right?
Yeah.
So, and also, I mean, I've seen this done here in the US, and I love it when I get paid every 2 weeks,
Charlie, now
right?
too.
Yeah, 2 weeks. So, but that's already not done. So that's actually the next level up to link their mobile money so that the whole
It
process will
will
be
just go
automated. Yeah.
seamless. Okay, that's cool.
Um,
And to
yeah.
motivate
So
them as well, right? Like,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, so there is that, and then this is where we're tracking expenses. So if somebody makes an expense, they have the receipts for it, but then they also give an explanation. And so once I'm seeing this, if something doesn't make sense, I call
Says,
somebody right away.
okay,
Did you
okay,
get it?
okay, okay.
And then this is where the sales. So for the sales, I guess this is one of the most important aspects, right?
Yeah.
So you come in, the system supports like the dates. Walking is like somebody just walked into the factory, right? And
But okay.
and they bought something. If not, you can choose the vehicle. Everything is linked to the vehicles you set up. You can choose who the driver was. You can choose who the mate was, right?
Okay.
And then you can choose like, so for us, we have like different areas. So
Yeah.
the system allows us to track where we are
Where
selling.
they are selling.
So we know, where we're doing well and where we need to improve. So how many bags were loaded? What is the unique price? And then when they come back, you come and edit how many were sold, how many do we need to rebag, and this is the lost quantity I was talking about. Then
Yeah.
to swap,
To just
don't
jara
give it a
jara.
mark. Exactly. So once we have all of that, we have like this dashboard that puts it all together. So it gives us like visibility on, okay, what happened today, what happened yesterday, this week, and so on.
I see.
So, and then you can also pick, and we show you like these numbers. Again, these are test data.
Yeah.
So you see the sales, expenses, fuel, your bank account balance, what it should be. And this
Yeah.
is what I always make sure it matches what I have on my
With
phone,
what you
right?
have. Okay.
Yeah. And then you get some insights into the sales, expenses, fuel
Tally.
purchases, and
With
production.
force. With
Yeah.
force.
So, yeah, this is the
This
system
is
we've been
what
using for more than a year now.
that's good. And I mean, I knew that you had this, but like I didn't know the extent to which like the things that you are tracking the master, you have to let them.
No, I mean
One movie
they
out
don't.
kakra,
So
a movie out
so
na
we
headache.
tell them that, see, and we make them, and this is not even to make it
Yeah,
sound nice, right?
yeah,
We take these things seriously. We let them understand that we have big dreams for this business, right?
yeah,
And we make them know that they are part of it, right?
yeah,
Again, helping the community, that sort of thing, right? And
yeah,
so if you have a problem, maybe you want to, right? Come talk to us.
yeah,
We could give you some advance. You get
yeah.
it? Like it's kind of like a small family. What
Yeah,
I say.
yeah, yeah,
Ah,
yeah,
so you don't have to steal, right?
yeah,
If you
yeah.
come, like maybe sometimes, yeah, we have an employee that we know they always do well, but maybe for some reason in a month they couldn't really pull their numbers, right?
Yeah.
There've been an instance where like we would top them up and then just write it off as expense. So that's
Okay,
it.
okay, yeah.
So, but it's also clear that if you steal from us, it's
You
not
will be
going to
put
be
to you
easy,
will be in
right?
jail.
Yeah, well, we'll just handle it as it should, right? So this
Yeah,
is one way that is helping us at least get day-to-day visibility into the
visibility.
business.
Okay,
And I can't even imagine running this business. We've been in operations for I think a year and 4 months now,
okay,
and I can't imagine doing this while being away.
okay, yeah.
You know,
So this is a platform that you built yourself because you know how to
right?
build, code and everything. So and we it's working for you. You are seeing you have a very high visibility into it. If somebody wants something like that to be built for them to facilitate their own business in Ghana, even whether they are here and doing the business in Ghana or even doing running the business in Ghana, is this
Mm-hmm.
something that you can tweak for someone?
Yeah, absolutely. So it depends if they're doing something related to maybe production. It doesn't have
Production,
to be
yeah,
water, right?
yeah,
Then this could almost
work.
work completely. But if they want something custom, it could be built as well. I think one issue I've seen is that when we run businesses, we ignore the benefits of tools like this one,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right? We just see it as, oh, this annoying cost that I need to, the way
Yeah.
I think about it is, what is the value I'm getting from that tool,
Mm-hmm,
right?
mm-hmm.
So if you're doing a business in Ghana, you're not there, or anywhere in Africa, you're not there, right? I really encourage you to, even if it's not a dashboard or an app like this, invest in whatever tooling or structures you need to
That's
invest
just
in to get visibility into the
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
business,
mm-hmm.
and have things at that level of strictness, right?
Yeah.
Because when foreigners come into Africa and they are running businesses, they don't take
They
no,
don't
like
Charlie.
exactly.
You
So exactly. So why should it be different when
if
we
we
are
are
doing it, right?
okay.
Yeah.
So
So
some of the
yes.
hard decisions that I think maybe I'm able to end on this one will be, family. If getting people involved, who you need people that you are familiar with, right? And sometimes
Mm-hmm.
that means your family. You also need to be strict, right? And you have to
Mm-hmm.
maybe take certain decisions. If somebody's not doing something well, fire them and all of those things.
Yeah.
How that part is almost very difficult to do because you know we Africans, Charlie. Ebi a okwa ye be fro ebusia meetings this year say.
Yeah, I think no,
How do you
actually, that's
navigate
a
all those pieces? Yeah.
yeah. Long story short, I actually had one of my close family members working on this,
Yeah.
and they are no longer there.
Okay.
They got kicked out. And so I think to me what is more important is recognizing that family is family,
Yeah.
perhaps the most important thing, and
Yeah.
business is business,
Yeah.
right? So I would rather I run a business successfully, make money, and then make
Help your
my
family.
family enjoy,
Yeah.
right? That's how I think about this, right?
Yeah.
So my family members, if they are not qualified, if they are not like qualified, even sounds like fancy, but if they are not, if they don't have what is needed to move the business,
The
they
business.
don't have to be there because it's
Yeah.
detrimental. Long term, there's not going to be any business
Akwasi
for
needs
them to be
job.
at.
Akwasi here juma.
Akwasi here Juma, right? Either we find Akwasi the Juma that Akwasi can do
Can
well,
do, which may not be in
right?
your factory.
Which may not exactly. So we try and run the factory efficiently.
Yeah.
Once the bitter once we make some money, then Akwasi can also enjoy from that
Yeah.
family.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's how I look at it. And like I said, I have a very good relationship with my family, right?
Yeah.
Business is business, even though like my family member, he's no longer working on it, but we do have conversations about the business. Sometimes we bounce ideas here and there,
Ideas.
right?
Okay.
So it's
Okay.
just recognizing that, okay, this is just business, right?
Yeah.
Let's do it and do it right. Let's pull in the right resources and get it
And
going,
get it done. Yeah.
right? But this is family, this is blood. This is you and me, right? So those two things don't
Yeah.
need to mix.
Managing the
It's okay if they
relationship.
do, but
Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Cool, cool, cool.
Yeah,
So, viewers, I hope you've learned something about how to run a business remotely from from abroad using
yeah.
right.
Before that, though,
Yeah.
let me just
Yeah.
add: this is by no means that it's been perfect. No,
Yes.
we've
Okay.
had our
Do
own
you have like
issues,
some
right?
challenges to share other aside
Yeah,
from
absolutely. Like we hired one operator, for instance, right? So the operators, they operate the machines,
the
right? It's a
machine
production system. So they make sure that, the mechanical
is
processes are
running?
running, the water treatment, everything is in order and so on, right? We hired an operator, and he was actually staying in the factory. So we had an extra accommodation, he was staying there. And then he was actually, selling
The
some of the
water on the
water when we
side.
weren't there on the side.
Charlie, Charlie.
Exactly. And so, what happened was because he was running the production process, right?
Mhm.
He would come and say, "Oh, instead of this number that the supplier says we should get, oh, we're not getting that.
Yeah.
The raw materials are not up to standard." And sometimes it happens. I mean, we've done actual experiments to confirm that we don't always get what the supplier says, right? But I
Mhm.
guess he was taking advantage of that, right?
Yeah.
But because we were tracking stuff,
You were able
right,
to.
things became too apparent that, okay, this just doesn't make sense, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
So, we started putting in place structures and voila, we caught him, right? So again, the goal is not, you can eliminate, there are good people in this world, very good people. There are also bad actors in this
Yeah.
world. That's just the reality of it, right? But what you want to do is to have in place structures such that when things happen, you know, the way you don't want them to happen, at least you
Mhm.
know, right? Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think my manager is also very fantastic in that regard. Totally hardworking, and he is the kind of person who can keep a ton of numbers in his head. Like sometimes we had
Wow.
an issue, we took money to the bank took it, they didn't deposit it because they said they had network issue,
Mhm.
and somehow somebody at the bank forgot to
Oh wow.
you know, yeah, these things happen. Again, because we were tracking stuff,
You
we
were
knew
able
right
to see.
away, right? And I called my manager. I was like, okay, this is the thing. And, somebody would have just assumed, oh, maybe he didn't deposit it or not. But because that's where you need that trust, right?
Trust.
Because when you have good people, you also don't want to break, that trust. So I called him and he said, oh, yeah, I sent that money. He gave me the exact amount to the Peswa.
Wow.
right top of his head. And then so the next day I called the bank and they said, oh,
Got it
network
resolved.
issues, and we got a result. So it's not perfect, but it helps, and we're excited about where this could take us.
Cool. So for me, the lessons that I'm learning here is good product. You need good people. You need good systems, and then trust to be able to
Yep.
run a business out efficiently outside of Ghana. And even if you are in Africa or in Ghana or wherever you are,
Yeah.
these things, once you get them, you start to see the fruit of your labor.
Yep.
Charlie, you guys, you built a good platform. Thanks for
Yeah.
sharing. If anybody
And
wants,
you are an investor in this business, so I guess
we
I'll
didn't
give you the shout out
we
there.
didn't we
I'll
didn't
give
even
you
go
that
into
shout out.
financing and
Thank you.
everything.
I know. Maybe as a
Yeah,
follow
maybe
up.
yeah, we
Yeah.
might be able to go into that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Charlie, thanks. At least I know that my money is not going to waste. Yeah, Charlie,
All
it's
right.
great.
Yeah.
And if somebody
Mm-hmm.
wants to build such a platform to run their own business, all of that stuff, can they reach out to you or
Yeah,
something? Put
absolutely. Yeah, we
like
can set up something for
your
them.
email
Mm-hmm.
or something in there. We'll put your email or something in the video
Yeah.
for them as well. So yeah, viewers, I hope you've learned some lessons about running a business remotely if you are not in Africa or you are not back home. This is not to say that once you do all of these things will run smoothly and there will be no
Mm-mm.
problems. You have to look at the peculiarities of your own business, the people that you're working with and everything. And you have to get a business that actually works. We could have gone into the economy and all those things. It was a good
Mm-hmm.
time.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
that may be for another video.
Yeah.
However, if you want your business to thrive and to work well for you, maybe these are some of the things that you need to put in place so that your business is thriving and you are not throwing money into a black hole. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, Charlie
Yeah.
Bright,
Of course. The end
thanks for
coming back.
sharing. This is really
Yeah.
fascinating. I found it very educative. Please like, share, subscribe. We hope you found this video informative as well. Let somebody know about it. Somebody who's interested in doing something back home, and maybe they can reach out to Bright or find some software or some
Yeah.
technology
Anybody at
that
all. That's the
anybody.
thing. So
Mhm.
yeah, I don't think of these. I don't focus so much on the software or whatever,
Yeah,
right? I
yeah.
look at it as just a tool, right?
Tools.
To
Yeah,
get what you need, right? So
need.
whatever it is for you, even if you need to get a third party sit at the office, like somebody, who can, even if you have to bring your mom or your dad to come and sit there, and that is what will work for
That's
you,
what will work, Charlie.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we'll
All
leave you
right.
with this. Like, share, subscribe, and we'll talk to you in the next one.
Yeah,
Bye.
and if people have experiences running businesses in Africa, they can also comment, let
Put
us
it
know
down
what
there.
they've been doing or what they have not been doing that may be helping or hurting. All
Yep.
right.
All right.
Thank you.
See
See
you.
you next
Bye.
time.
Bye bye.
Bye.